Coach Peggy Show, all things wellness with Coach Peggy Willms. How many people in your life have told you you're half of this or half of that? Are you settling? No more. This show is about all things, and you deserve it. It's about your money, your lifestyle, your beliefs, and even romance. We extinguish excuses and raise the bar to all things possible. It's time to use your ATM, you know, your all things mindset. Welcome to the Coach Peggy Show. Bold, badass, and never half in.
Hey, you guys, welcome. I am your host, Peggy Willms. You're listening to the Coach Peggy Show. We talk about wellness. We talk about well-being. Apparently, we're going to talk about Mercury retrograde and the eclipse, because if you only knew how difficult it's been to put this show together, roll your eyes. Okay, real people with real problems, real solutions, finding, we're the real stories. You're going to see that. Quick housekeeping first. You can always email me at peggy@allthingswellness.com. If you want to see what's going on with some of my books or be on the show, hop on to allthingswellness.com and look at the nice little tabs along the top. We're really going to kind of focus on one of my projects, the Unsheltered projects, kind of right now. You guys who've been following me, you know that that's true in real stories from those who have been homeless or are unsheltered, and some of those that have been exposed. So those are my guests today. Get out of your head and get into your running shoes. So very curious, isn't it? The description of the show, I'm going to highlight these two powerhouses who are making a difference in the lives of those struggling with mental health, really important, and homelessness. So you do not want to miss this conversation, and hopefully everything goes fine. So here's the quote to kick off the show. Are y'all ready? Okay. There is something magical about running. After a certain distance, it transcends the body. Then a bit further, it transcends the mind. A bit further even, and what you have before you laid bare is the soul. And that's Kristen Armstrong. Isn't that beautiful, Matt? And I mean, Nikki.
That says a lot, and that's the truth, isn't it? Just keep going.
It does say a lot. So they're hailing from England, where I thought they were hailing from Australia. Not quite the same accent, so kind of, but a little different. A little mixed. So I want to brag about you guys just for a second, because when I ask people what their biography is and they, please tell me who and what you are, they don't brag enough. So I always read the bios. Okay, so let's talk about Matt first. Matt left school with no grades, dropped out of college, and after drug and alcohol abuse, escapism, which is a really good word, mental health sectioning, and being homeless, he occasionally finds himself through his writing. After having a deep spiritual encounter, Matt had a vision to help homeless people, those recovering from addictions, by training for and training with them running marathons. I'm so excited. So from indigenous, because that's a word, Australia to the UK and beyond, Matt is the founder and director of Off the Street, On Our Feet. He's an author and published a handful of books. Yes, he has. He's appeared on TV, radio, and magazines, newspapers, and is a leader and role model for those in need most. And I actually bolded this because it's so important. A voice for the voiceless. So that's good, Nikki. That was a lot of good stuff about Matt. She's like, yeah. Yes. Now I'm going to brag about you because I think you're pretty special. So Nikki grew up in Southeast London. She left school at 16 and had no real direction in her life. And that happens to a lot of us, right? She got married at 22 and was a stay-at-home mom, volunteering in her children's school in Brixton, which was overflowing with children who were part of a gang type culture in one way or another, facing poverty, facing neglect. Nikki and her family moved to the coast in 2001 and met this this guy that's in the room, and they became friends. And for 20 years, she's really been working in the homeless sector, from people suffering from mental illness, ex-offenders. I mean, I could go on about you as well. And I heard something like, you'll go down, you will die, bloody knuckles, to help this lane of beauty. That's kind of true.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So welcome, you guys. Matt, we have to say that the universe serendipity, coincident, whatever we want to call this. You and I have been trying to get this show put together for quite a while.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We were just saying, because
And then it goes blank and Sierra just bounces off. So I want to make sure that we steer this in a way that serves you guys. And so usually I go back and we do a little bit of rear view mirror, kind of where do we come from first. So let's shift to you, Matt. And you talk about mental illness and addiction. Did the mental illness precede the addiction piece, or did the addiction become the downfall of kind of, how did that all be discovered with you? How'd that fall out years ago?
yeah. So I think everything to me starts with some form of childhood trauma or limiting beliefs, starting from a young age, and the way that society might be and conditioning. So I think there's always an underlying factor to mental health before addiction even comes in, and addiction could be trying to escape whatever we've formed as a person when we were very young, because we can't be that young person in this world because sometimes we're not accepted. So that's how I feel it is with mental health. And then addiction comes in because we're desperately trying to be who we're supposed to be, which is pure, innocent, loving, and enthusiastic. And then we don't know what else to do, so we just try and escape our minds through drugs or alcohol, or for me, running. Well, no, sorry, running's a healthy one. I mean, running away from, like, as in going traveling, going off.
Right.
I'll leave everything, my hometown. I'll go away. Everything will be okay. I'll go live in Indigenous. I'll go here. I'll try this. Whatever health remedy, or mushrooms or ayahuasca or psychedelic or whatever. But now it's like, I think the whole world's realizing that there's a root cause to all this, and that addiction ain't quite it. I mean,
Right.
it's a plaster, it's a band-aid, but yeah.
You know, your story that you wrote for the homelessness book. I mean, first of all, you are an eloquent writer. You are a good writer. I don't think you thought that when you submitted your story, but you really are. And, you know, sometimes it takes us coming on the other side and look back. And the quick question I have, are you a writer because it's cathartic to get it out, or are you a writer to help others, or both?
Oh,
Both, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Are you
And it's
journal?
like,
Do you journal?
nah, my books is kind of way of journaling. I tried journaling, I couldn't do it. Yeah. So I think writing is my way.
Me either, love. I know. I pretend and I have a bunch of journals and they'll sit here and they end up being to-do lists. I'm not even joking. It's like, today I need to do this. Nikki, how proud are you of this guy? You've known him for a while, and I'm sure it kind of can go like this. We'll talk about him like he's not here, but you guys have been friends for a while. You've probably watched a lot and seen a lot.
Yeah, yeah. I am really proud of him. I don't tell him that too often though. But yeah, I am really proud of him. But there have been some really worrying times with Matt. You know, when he was in Australia, and it was quite frustrating for me because I would see him going through these episodes and kind of wanting to reach out, which we did. We always stayed in touch. But there were times when Matt was kind of too deep to kind of be pulled back. So you just had to kind of go with it. And fortunately, he was making videos all the time. So I knew that he was okay. But he was just always after the next thing.
Yeah.
And I remember he went quiet for a few months, and he came back and he joined this cult. I mean, it was like a cult, wasn't it? And
talk to me, sister. Oh, it's getting good. Okay, talk to me. Matt, just lay down.
It was like a religious cult. So you know, Matt's always been very spiritual. I'm very spiritual, and then it was like seeing him take this different path. And you know, he was doing this video, and there was just a group of people behind him, and I just didn't like the way that they were interacting with him, and it was like, I just wish he would come home. And fortunately he did come home, and yeah, he's come out the other side. But there have been some really sad moments watching him.
Yeah. You know, Matt, I'm sure, like for me, I struggled with an eating disorder for a long time. And part of it is just being so manic. I don't get those red flags of being hungry. I just want to work. I get this grandiosity that I can write 10 books at the same time. And what's the problem? Like, what's the problem that you can't? I mean, but so I kind of had that struggle with eating and remembering to eat, right? So I have these people in my like top 3 that I allow to come in and say, Peggy, I see some red flags, like smarten up. I get mad. I'm just like, right. But it sounds like, is Nikki in your like top 3 where you give her authority to come in and tell you the tough stuff?
Yeah, and I listen. It's hard for me to listen to people, but I do.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
We
Do you
talk
kind
every
of,
day.
what's that, Nikki?
We talk every day, and quite often at the end of each day, Matt can kind of ring me at, 10 o'clock at night and be like, can we just go out for a drive? Can we go for a walk?
Oh, that's
If he's feeling overwhelmed or, he's not sure of something and he wants to just a bit of clarification or to know that he's doing the right thing. So, yeah.
That's really awesome. So you work for his organization, correct? You guys work together still?
Yeah, so we
Yeah.
just started. It's not. It's all voluntary based. It's all
Yeah.
like, yeah. So it's
Yeah.
all lifted up.
Yeah.
And even that was strange the way that all happened because I left my job in May last year because I was kind of feeling a little bit defeated with the whole homelessness sector, that there wasn't a help for these people, and I was just feeling really down about it. So I left, and that was in the May, and I did a bit of traveling and stuff, and then Matt came back in November, and it's all September, and it's all kicked off again. So yeah.
That's all. That's okay. That's amazing. So if we look at both of your rear view mirrors, Nikki, your life, right? It just, I mean, nothing happens. It's no coincidence. It's just none. So your understanding and the population that you worked with and you guys coming together like this, I want to just directly have a quick conversation with you, Nikki, because I learned writing this book, the weight as the editor and the co-author of this. I mean, you're bringing in 35, 40 stories that are heavy. And in my other books, they might be talking about weight loss or a divorce or something. So I can kind of come in and out of it. But the weight, the level of trauma and just it is so heavy in editing and receiving. So I want to ask you, how do you relate? How do you cleanse yourself? How do you work with this population to stay like out of the doctor's office,
So I'm quite a solitary person. So when I'm not kind of working, with off the street or, that kind of stuff, I spend a lot of time on my own. Me and the dog, we go out, we go down the beach, we go for walks, I'll go for drives. So I make sure that I always have my downtime. I go out in the garden, just completely chilling out. And I have minimal interaction with anyone. And then it's like I'm recharging my batteries and then I'm ready then to take it on another day.
That's what I'm going to do, Matt. I'm going to email everybody and say, I'm so done with people. I'm anti-people because that's sometimes how I feel. I want to just get into a cocoon and go watch like Love Island for a couple of days, So, wow. Matt, how are you doing? We have all sorts to talk about in between, but I want to ask you, how are you in this moment, this last week, this last month? Where are you right in this moment?
Right in this moment, I've actually been going for a massive load of overwhelm and wanting to escape badly, like to the point where I'm like, I can't do this anymore. Can't do it. And I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty sure 100% it's related energetically, spiritually, without a doubt. And then obviously things are surfacing deep down inside me. And then there's obviously in the environment that we're in, other characters are not necessarily, like there's trauma. and then I've got to deal with that, and then people trying to sort of lead or be hard work or this and that, and then it's bringing out stuff in me. Everything, like, honestly, last week, everything's just been on the surface, and I don't know how I've just been like, whoa. And then sometimes I'm like, oh, the moon, it's the eclipse, oh, there you go. And then, like, you know, the whole retrograde, and then I'm like, all right, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And I'm like, you know, is it an angels and demons thing, or is it just the spiritual energies, or am I just coming to the point where I can't wear my mask anymore? There's all these questions, you know, like, and it's all at the surface right now. Interesting you ask that.
Can you tell I have intuition? I am connected to you, buddy. It's interesting because I am so privileged to have worked with so many people that in 35 years I've been in this industry working with people as a coach and author and stuff. And I have this library of Matts and Nikki's and Peggy's, meaning I know so many people. I get to see the commonalities and understand the connectiveness, where when we're in it by ourselves, Peggy included, you almost separate yourself and think you're the only one. I'm the only one that this is affecting. I'm the only one that can't handle my job and that type of stuff. But I just have to tell you, whether you believe me or not, Matt, you are more of the norm than not. The overwhelm this last week, I was just telling Sierra, I'm canceling my radio show for the summer. I had to, because I'll mask my up and down, my mental health. I'll mask it by getting busier.
Yeah.
And you get me, busier to the point that I'll wake up and I had to separate the days where I'm like, Monday only is media. Yeah. Tuesday only, because that's the only way I could compartmentalize it. 2 o'clock in the morning, I'd be like, oh my God, I got to do this. And so I'm with you, brother. I'm with you. Sierra, you're on. My producer's on. What are your thoughts with what we're talking about with that whole overwhelm the last week?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. No, it's like you were saying, Mercury retrograde is hitting me right in the face. And this is my first week remote with this job too. So the whole transition of being in Seattle, now in Portland, life is crazy. That's all.
Life. I pull her in because I like to have her, involved in the conversation and to make sure she stays awake and that the button stays hit, no, I'm just kidding. But I appreciate that, Matt. It's never all fixed, right? Whether it's trauma, whether it was mental health and then the trauma, or the trauma, then the mental health. It's just, so what are we doing this month, Matt? What are we doing in the month of April?
April, I suppose it's just, I'm trying to have a little bit of not stepping away, but my workload, just breathing a little bit more. And I've got a marathon on Sunday, and I want to focus on me rather than everyone else. Normally I'm thinking, oh, where's everyone else? Are they, have I got them entered? Are they entered? Is he all right? Are they going to do? Do they know what the training's like? And is he going to piss him off, or are they going to piss them off, or crazy stuff, and all scenarios, logistics? And then I've got all the stuff like, I want to write this book and I want to do this, and I've got deadlines and emails. I just want to sort of go and just focus on the run and try and push my limit and get a good time and try and enjoy the moment and not have my phone with me trying to take photos while I'm running, just like enjoy the atmosphere of people, the humanity of that. And like, that's what I'm trying to really be present, because I ran the London half marathon, the landmark London half marathon on Sunday, and just the vibe, the energy of all the charities and people helping each other, and the music and people out there with their families and the energy and just being there for one another, spending their Sunday watching people run, old people that are like 90 odd and young people. And it's just, that's where I want to try and be there and not enjoy being in the team rather than trying to always lead or micromanage or control it. I just want to try and be in it, That's kind of
look at you all growing up. What, or maybe not, but what you're saying is honestly, it's very coach-like. To coach ourselves is really tough. We can coach everybody else, right? But to walk the talk is a little harder. But when you were talking, I was resonating with, I've been doing that kind of step back thing and just saying to myself, like, who am I doing this for? Like, because I'll go forward, make the decision, and I'm like, let's go. And then I step back and I'm like, I don't even want to do that.
Mm.
Right? And it's like,
yeah.
Right, exactly. So I think that's really helpful is that, what is Matt getting out of running? And when we come back from commercial, I want to talk about how that started, but what are you getting out of it? What are you observing? How are you feeling after? I mean, that's because if you're the beacon and the light and they are following you, you've got to stay lit.
Yeah.
Not the old-fashioned lit, Matt, but lit. That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay. Are you guys working remotely? Do you have an office? How do you guys do that with this new business?
So literally, I'm borrowing my mum's car around her work, and that's how mainly the GoFundMe, which is running this, literally paying for petrol. I'm fortunate enough to be good with my wording to get free entries and do events and manage a team. But it's literally like we've got loads of free donations there in the back of the car. There's some in the locker in the place that we're at. It's on the I mean, it looks like from the outside it's probably organised, but it's not. It's an absolute shit show.
Oh,
I love that.
Yeah.
Bags of trainers in the back of my car, bags of clothing in the back of the car. It's everywhere.
You know what though? That's the real deal, you guys. And not a lot of people are willing to be that transparent because what you said is so priceless, where people look in and they're like, they got it going on. They got it figured out, pretty website, nice pictures. And it ain't always pretty on the backside of this drop for me either. And for you to say that, like, this is not easy. Do not pretend all of a sudden you're going to get a roof over your head, clothes on your back, food in your mouth, and be able to start an organization. And I respect the hell out of that you're willing to say, literally, your car is your shelter and it is your business. Like, and I love how you say petrol. That's just,
Does say petrol. Oh yeah, it's gas, isn't it? It's gas.
no, it's okay. I was like, oh, I'm gonna have a little tea and crumpets. No, I'm just kidding. That's just a minute. Sierra, go ahead and take us to break and we'll be right back. You guys stay with us. We're talking to Matt and Nikki and we're gonna come back with a lightning round and then get into why Matt is helping everybody learn how to run and how it's making a difference. Hey, you guys, thanks for joining us. And I'm talking to Matt and Nikki. And really what we're trying to get down and dirty is this gentleman is very transparent, very authentic. We're talking about how we get out of our head and into running shoes. In this part of this half hour, we're really going to talk about what that actually means. But more importantly, we have to go through the lightning round first, which probably scares the bejesus out of them. Okay, so lightning round. Matt, is your bed made right now?
Yes.
Oh, Nikki?
Yeah.
You know what they say about studies with people who make their bed, like with productivity? I love that. That was just a random. And don't, Sierra, is your bed made?
Define made. Because my comforter is covering the whole bed, but is it tucked? No.
Right. Is it beautiful? No, it's not. Okay. Well, that's so close. All right, Matt, let's go to you. What is your super strength? What's your superpower?
Honesty.
It's what?
Honesty, authenticity.
Honesty. Yes, that is a superpower. Honesty. Oh my gosh, that is really good. Nikki, what about yours?
I think that I just put people at ease. I make them feel like they're being heard.
Oh, I said that today. I had a show earlier today and I said, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth. We should really be listening twice as much as we're running this here, So That's a really good team that you two have. Matt, how long did you struggle? We have the trauma, then we have some mental health struggles, we were working through that. Then there comes some addiction type behavior. And then all of a sudden you wake up one day and say, I'm going to run and I'm going to help other people that are unsheltered run. Like, what was the time frame of all of that?
That was within, I was sectioned in 14th of October. So within the space of like 4 or 5 months, I think, from being
quick?
from being sectioned in a mental health institute to having the vision was less than 6 months. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's
And then I
wow.
pulled it off within 3 months of having the vision, which was mad.
Yeah, because it almost seems unrealistic, right? To be like, you want me to do what? You want me to go? I mean, what's a conversation like? What was it like one of the first few conversations you had? Were you like, okay, buddy, my name's Matt, your name's John, this is what we're going to do? Like, what's a conversation? And explain to us what you do right now. Explain to us. Let me give you the floor.
What I do now or what happened then?
I want to know, let's go back to the conversation, because obviously you had this vision and this dream to do. Let's talk about what that is, to get some shoes on these people. And then tell me some of the conversations that you had.
Yeah. So, I mean, the vision was just pretty much I was running in Byron Bay in Australia on my own, and I was just depressed. I just was in bed and I was just like, no, I'm going to go for a run. And all of a sudden, I just got hit by this sort of, it was like a spiritual moment where all of a sudden, all I could see was, oh my God, like that homeless shelter that I know that I was using at the time to get breakfast and stuff. And I'm just going to get them to start running and get whoever involved and make a team, and we're going to run this. And I was like, oh yeah, and I saw this half marathon at the Gold Coast, and it was just 2.5 to 3 months away. And then I was like, oh, it's going to be on the TV, it's going to be on the radio, and I could see like Chris Hemsworth, the actor, in it, who's local. And then he ended up coming up to me for a photo. I didn't even ask him, and I'm like, but I saw all of it in the vision before. So there was that, and then there was the whole community. That's what I saw the most of. It was like, I was like, oh my God, then the community are going to see that homeless people are getting up on their own, and then they're going to believe in them more. And then the guy that's sitting on the street and he's been rejected his whole life, all of a sudden they're going to be like, oh, you're that guy in the paper that was running. And then there's a connection. And then there's going to be another connection because it will be in the papers and it will be spoken of more widely. And Byron Bay has got really rich people. I mean, there's 6 very well-known celebrities I can name right now that live in Byron Bay. And then you've got the homeless people. So I just saw this whole like kind of community connectiveness of like, it doesn't matter where you're from, off the street or whatever, just the fact that you're willing to sort of get up and make an effort. And then the individual stories were just mind-blowing. But for me, speaking to them was horrible because I was like, I can't. And then I just kind of just mentioned like running and then like, do you fancy taking your dog on the beach for a run? And they've got like, no, there's no shoes. We started off just me, another homeless guy, no shoes, nothing, barefoot running with his dog on the beach. Dogs aren't even allowed on the beach in Byron Bay. We just done it, and that's how it started. And it was the running coach was the main pivotal thing out of all of it, having a running coach. Because in my vision, I saw Monday, Wednesday, Friday, running coach. That's what we need. And then we get a time, 6:45 in the morning, 3 times a week. Stick to that. We come, we show, we speak, and then more will come and it will happen. And that's basically what happened. There was 13 weeks. It was like 39 training runs or something.
I know your story, what's going to be published in the Unsheltered truly, the book that's coming out, the compilation book. I remember I was sitting in my recliner back here when I was reading it, and I honestly, it was captivating because, I should slow down a hot minute since I'm editing, but I'm like, oh, hell no. Oh, what's going on? What, because it was such a clear vision. Did you let Nikki know about the vision as it was all evolving? Were you were chatting during that time, weren't you?
A little bit, but
Yeah.
it was more,
I could see it. I could see it all happening.
Yeah.
And we would just like, when Matt I mean, the contact we had when Matt was writing a new book, he would contact me and be like, can I send you a couple of chapters, blah, blah, blah. But I think the whole thing with the running, I was just watching it all unfold on Facebook. And it's like, what is he doing now? Like,
We're talking.
something.
All right. There's a question coming in. I want to ask this. So the meaning between homeless and houseless, right? Is there one? And yeah, what are your thoughts on that? So we've got, because we use unsheltered, and one of the reasons that we use unsheltered is that many times people are like, well, I don't have a house, but I have a roof, but I'm, what is that? So what's the difference for you guys with homeless and houseless?
I think we don't really have houseless. We would have street homeless. So you can be street homeless where you are without a house. And then the homeless thing could also apply to, you're sofa surfing, you're sleeping on someone's sofa, in their front room. So yeah, we kind of have the street homeless and then homeless.
I have heard that term. I've got another Australian, a couple of people writing for this book, and I actually kind of, the terms are a little bit different sometimes, but one of the stories that came in, Matt, that was just, I hadn't even thought about was our teenagers, right? So if you look back at your years when you're younger and they have a home that is really disturbing and physical, and the teenager runs away thinking the street is safer. And in many times it is. And then here in the US, we have a governmental branch that's called Child Protective Service, and they're so afraid that they'll bring them back home. And so where you are, when you are looking at the homelessness and unsheltered, Matt, that you're going to work with, is it male focused? Is mostly men, right? And is it of a certain age dynamic?
Yeah, I mean, it has happened to be men. I've been trying to get females on a lot. We have one female out of the core 12 of us in the Gold Coast. We've got one main female now. Yeah, she was on the street for, I think recently for about 4 months straight. Yeah, so it's hard. In my experience, it's been male domineering, and there has been not very nice stories about what men have done to women. So I've struggled with that.
Right. What are you gathering stories from them? Even if you use different names, are you gathering those and you're blogging? You need to do a compilation book at one point in time.
Yeah.
Not that you need anything else. Nikki's like, not right now, Peggy.
Yeah.
Because we've done some interviewing for people, like we did an interview, my co-author did an interview in Scotland, and I've done a couple where people are not willing to use their name or don't have the ability to, but being in the front line and doing the interviews ourselves, right? There's no nonprofit that's in there interviewing. There's no, reporter doing the interview, but you really are privileged to be able to have that information and to be able to vessel it and get those messages out there.
I mean, what we are doing is we video everything. So whether we do a park run, which is
so jealous, yes.
So we'll do a park run, which is like a 5-kilometer run on Saturday mornings, and usually I will film all of that, and then we'll video like our training events, or we all did like a half marathon, a trail half marathon. Everything's videoed, and then Matt puts these videos together and does these voiceovers, which are hilarious. And now all of our characters are starting to come out through those videos. So you'll get the regular viewers on Facebook, and everyone's getting to know who David is, who Ryan is. Everyone's just kind of growing and quite happy to be on film, aren't they?
Yeah. And I sometimes it's anxiety ridden getting the camera out, but I just got to do it.
And it's so funny. Like, they're like comedy sketches.
And I'll tell you, I do not work for TikTok. Let's be clear, but that's where you belong. I mean, you would be a hit to be able. And what I love about the comedic twist is the fact that if we could make light of some of our struggles, laughing is like the best medicine.
Yeah.
And to be able to make light
Yeah. And with TikTok, we've just started that. So I've got my 17-year-old son, he's now doing the TikToks. Obviously it takes a while to grow, but you know, it's early days for that. But the
You
Facebook
contact
stuff,
me because I know how to help you grow. So that's why we're chatting. I can make you grow like that. And I am all about real people, right? Not buying your followers, but yeah, we can make that happen because you want real people telling and sharing your stories, not bots and all of that stuff. But that's where I see you guys. And I didn't know that about the comedic twist. I think that's
oh,
brilliant.
it's so funny. Honestly, it's so funny. And we've all kind of just we're kind of pigeonholed, aren't we? But without meaning to be, like, our personalities are all so different, and we kind of take the piss out of each other a bit, don't we? Well, a lot. We take the piss out of each other a lot, and it works. Like, it has to. You know, you have
Love
to.
it.
You have to make it fun.
Yeah.
You know.
And we get it
I
all the
love
time.
it.
Yeah.
We went to the landmark half marathon in London. It was Dane's first half marathon. He was really, really nervous. And I was just like getting it on video. I was like, "You're Dane?" And he's like, "Yeah."
Forget about the book. I mean, vlogging is, I totally see you vlogging. Screw putting the stuff on paper. I mean, gone is the day.
Yeah.
You know, I see. So how can we, the viewers, the listeners, help your organization the most? Are we talking the GoFundMe for the shoes and for the, like, how can people help you? Couple of,
Yeah, I mean, the GoFundMe is definitely important, but because before we get to the point where we can actually access grants or anything like that, because I've got to do the whole, making it registered charity, it takes time, it's a lot of, work I've got to put in. But at the moment, yeah, the GoFundMe is basically keeping us going. So GoFundMe would be the main thing. I mean, if there are ever anybody that can really have got that social media experience, that could obviously help a lot. I've got so much footage. Footage, it's unbelievable. Even back to Byron Bay, I've got interviews with some of the runners. I've got the original footage. I've got everything on my USB and my phone and everything. And if someone with that social media mindset or that videographer or that thing, and with a bit of humor, because I've already got the voice clips of me in a lot of them anyway, someone was able to articulate that, get the right time frames, get them snappy to the point, and then do the right hashtags and all that stuff. I'm just winging it at the moment, and it is really overwhelming. That's what I'm struggling with at the moment.
okay.
Yeah,
Order in the court. Order in the court. We have just solved all the problems of the world. Buddy, I like to see when their whites of their eyes show up like this and they lean forward and they're black, that's where the passion is, right? And when you look at somebody and they're like this and they're a little defeated, you're not aligned. You are aligned with that footage and the comedic twist and being in people's faces. We just need to find you, the marketing person, whoever wants to ghost write or do that. That ain't you. You know what I mean? You're the front character.
And this is
So
what I've said to him, his voiceovers are amazing, like he needs to carry on with that.
I tell you what, you need to carry on with that. So people that are listening, we need to make sure that we get this out and we have people that are willing to, because up front, a lot of it is doing for good and not for profit. It's a very much of a volunteer type. So what's good about that though, is you tend to get those people who are really passionate about that versus writing them a check and they feel like they go to work every day and they hate their marketing and social media job. So I'm going to spin and try to do my magic and try to figure out how to get some help for you guys. And I'm going to reach out to my producer and we're just going to see what kind of conversations we can have and it'll all fall into place. You're doing great things. I mean, you need shoes, you need all of this stuff, entry fees, sexy tank tops. Hey.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, we've just about got t-shirts. I got a private donation and I bought 140 running t-shirts. So we just got to get them printed on and stuff. So yeah, that was cool.
My Mac does really weird things. Okay, I don't know what just happened. But that was cool universe stuff. I choose this backdrop. I choose different ones for all my shows. And when I was thinking, they're literal backdrops that I put up, their vinyl.
Oh, wow.
So when I travel and I'm sitting in a bed, I don't look unprofessional. But I picked this for you guys because I see that's where you're headed. You know, you're getting off the ground, the air balloon, you're getting up, you're really making a difference. I want to make sure that we can help you. You've got 12 runners right now, kind of in your club-ish.
Yeah,
Mhm.
about about 12, yeah.
That's amazing. So tell me, how can they find you? Either email, your website, both of you. So Matt, go first. How can we find you?
Yeah, so Facebook is Off the Street on Our Feet. Instagram is the same, Off the Street on Our Feet. And Off the Street on Our Feet is actually Otsoof, so OTSOOF. And that hashtag Otsoof is linked to all of the posts. And it's also, the website is www.otsoof.com. And my email is info@otsoof.com. So it's like
Yes.
Off the Street on Our Feet
Yep.
is Facebook, Instagram, and
We'll
I'm
make
pretty
sure we'll make sure we get that on the screen for you guys too. And then Nikki, is there any other site or any information? Okay.
No, we're just doing everything through, yeah, Off the Street.
Okay. I love that. So how can we, you know, this book is getting ready to come out, Matt, and I'll tell you, I'm really proud of you to share that story because I know you've written stuff and I know you've been interviewed many times, but I really believe this book is different and unique because it's in one lane, one subject, one, you know, unsheltered. And I really believe that when people pick that up, because my goal is to eventually have, you know, the coffee table books where we've got the images of people that mirror, you know, the same type of book we're doing right now. And the vlogging, there's so many people that are doing vlogs out on the street. And you know what I'm sick of, buddy? I'm not sick of. The majority I see are all talking to people who are addicted and on the street. And there's not any solution. What are you doing? How can we help? Where are the resources? And the approach you guys are taking is different.
Yeah, it is very different. Like tonight, we had a breath work and spinal alignment group.
Yeah.
And there was 5 of us.
Yeah.
And the guy that was in the homeless shelter kind of community, we phoned him up like 1 minute. We're like, we're starting in 5 minutes. Can we pick you up from your shelter? He's like, I'm not doing anything. Okay. And then that's it. That's how it works.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was 5 of us, and then we were all doing breath work, spinal alignment, and learning.
It's just about empowering them. And you know, we've got one guy, David, who his running has come on so much, hasn't it? You know, he started off, he didn't want to run, he was smoking too much and coming up with excuses all of the time. And now he runs everywhere. He's just running. He's like Forrest Gump. He runs everywhere.
That's brilliant. And
he's giving breaking.
Yeah, and something you just said, Nikki, too, that you think about is that then they're reducing their smoking, reducing their drinking. I mean, this is very impactful. I thank you guys for the service that you're doing. I know our reception was kind of, you know, we can't hug through here. But I will do anything that I can to help you guys. Do not hesitate to reach out to me. I think you're doing an amazing thing. Matt, what is your best self-care that you're going to do or do for yourself? Is it actually running yourself? What's your self-care kind of thing when you're struggling on a day or so?
I think it's going to actually have to be aligned probably with maybe writing, but just definitely when I switch off, I have to switch off. Like that's my main thing, really. Just work on my mind and a few breathing techniques to get the parasympathetic, you know, that one.
You know, it's hard when you're in it, right? It's hard when you're in it. So like in this last couple of weeks, I went back to the Motivation Monday and Transformation Tuesday, Wellness Wednesday, Tough Love Thursday, Freaky Friday. I've got Situation Saturday and then Solitude Sunday. And work is built into that. So the Motivation Monday might be like writing stories that are going to motivate others. But I had to compartmentalize that much and then dial it back to how do I eat well or go for a walk that day or sleep. Most of the time I'm just freaking tired, you know?
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for being here. And again, if there's anything that I can do to chat, if you want somebody who's absolutely hilarious to interview, give me a call. Have your people call my people. But I appreciate all that you're doing, Matt and Nikki. You're a great friend and a great worker for him, somebody that's got his best interest at heart. So I think he's my soul brother. I don't even know how to explain it. Plus, we kind of look the same. Hey, okay, you guys, I'm gonna let you go, and make sure that you guys hop on my website and look at these books I'm talking about, because Matt's book, that's coming out on July 30th. So Sierra, take us away. Thank you.
You've been listening to the Coach Peggy Show, all things wellness with Coach Peggy Willms. Tune in live the first and third Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com, where Coach Peggy talks all things wellness. Not just nutrition and fitness, but about all things, about your money, your lifestyle, your beliefs, and even romance. The Coach Peggy Show, bold, badass, and never half in. For more information or to connect with Coach Peggy, visit allthingswellness.com.